Tier lists. Since the dawn of man, we've strived for efficiency. Monkey, get banana. But other monkey banana, 2.5% tastier. Why must life be so cruel? What'd me do to have 2.5% tastier banana? I don't even know where I was going with that. Tier lists are fun. They're fun to make, they're fun to watch. I think it's obvious, since the Da Vinci of her time, iDubbbz,
I'm gay!
started the trend of tier listing food joints. Nowadays, there's a tier list for anything. YouTuber tier list, streamer tier list, anime tier list, drug tier list, tits tier list, culture tier list, and just around mistake tier list. So let's go back today to where it all started. Tier lists were initially a trend in fighting games, in which you had several characters to choose from with different movesets and special attacks. It wasn't long before people started wondering, should I pick the car or Mario? Are they really better than the dual nurses? Or should I go for this crazy guy with a spray can? What really is the optimal way to play Dong Dong Never Die? And here it all begun. Any game with options just boils down to the most optimal one. And it turns out, back in the day, the concept of game balancing wasn't even a consideration when making most games. And that's why we ended up with broken shit like Ball Kangaroo in a game where half the roster is actually impossible to win with. Thank you, PF Magic, which, if you don't know, they are the architect of such masterpieces as both Beth, Oddboth, and Baby. Yeah, I really don't know what made them move from 3D fighting games to Lovecraftian horror games, but I think it's a good thing they stopped. Anyways, point is that games grew more competitive, and people started caring about who was the best both player out there. Optimal strategies began to develop, and a meta began to form. And that gave rise to the tier list, a simple and concise way to showcase which characters you should strive to master and which characters you should stay away from if you want to compete with the best of the best. And that takes us to the present day, where tier lists are more of a meme than a useful guide to optimal play. And that's where I come in. I noticed that there wasn't really anyone who had taken the task of figuring out an information-based tier list for Rise, so I decided to pour about 600 hours into making it myself. And I could have never imagined what would happen. My views did a move that I like to call the shitcoin dance, where one day they were up 11,000%. You would have thought that fucking Elon Musk tweeted about my video. Since then, I have over tenfold the number of subs that I had before the video, and I just want to say thank you so much as a whole to the entire Monster Hunter community. You guys have been so nice and loving to me, it's heartwarming. While making the video, I used this tier list from the Monster Hunter meta subreddit, and one of the makers of that tier list actually saw my video and added it to the actual spreadsheet I used as a reference, which is insane. And I just want to thank you all for your awesome comments and feedback. I wanted to wait until my Sunbreak video to address the whole community and thank you all, and I'll probably do it again then, but the main purpose of this video was to focus on some of the comments and why I made certain choices in the video. So first, thank you. I still remember when I used to wake up and check Social Blade and I saw my video had gotten like 1 view while I was sleeping, and that would make my day. For the rest of the day, I'd be excited and overjoyed to know that someone had put their time into watching something I'd made. Every maybe couple of months, I'd get like 1 sub, which gave me an even greater feeling of joy, but the best was the comments, someone who not only appreciated what I made enough to watch the whole thing, but took the time out of their day to write what they thought of it. And from one day to the next, instead of looking forward to 1 comment a month or 1 view every couple days, there's hundreds. And I thought, well, if 1 sub makes my day, then 30 should make my whole month. But sadly, I think there's a cap to how much dopamine you can get from these things. and even though every time I feel down, I reread some of the comments on my last video to make me feel better, the thing that I didn't expect is how much anxiety would come with this. I feel a really big responsibility to all of you guys that have subbed since I published my last video. I want to make content that you guys enjoy, but I want to make the weird shit that I enjoy making. In an ideal world, those things would overlap, but I know in reality only some of you will enjoy that, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, I am sorry if my next couple videos don't meet your expectations. My upcoming videos are not going to be Monster Hunter related, and I just really hope you guys enjoy them regardless. In a way, it feels as if I'm about to do a music performance at a school talent show and I play right after the fucking Beatles. Like, no matter how good I do, it will pale in comparison, and that's kind of terrifying. Anyways, so comments. The number one criticism I got in the video was that for most of the weapons that I rated low, I only tried one playstyle. And it's perfectly valid criticism. You see, when I started making the tier list, I intended to do like 14 monsters and 10 hunts for each, but at some point I started doing the math, and it turned out that that would take about 10 lifetimes to complete. And by June, the tier list would be meaningless because of Sunbreak. So I had to cut some corners. I also didn't want the video to be like 1 hour long. Like, at the start I intended it to be 15 minutes, and I was kind of worried that it might be too long at 35. But from the feedback that I got, it seems that you guys care more about fair representation of all weapons than video length. So for Sunbreak, I'm learning all of the different playstyles for all of the weapons, and including all of those in my assessment of each weapon. Another thing I'd like to address is my lack of practice with certain weapons, and I want to make clear that yes, some weapons did poorly for me because I just didn't play them enough. But that was because that was the whole point. I put very similar amount of time in all of the weapons except for longsword, dual blades, and bow, which I used to play before I decided to make the video. I knew that greatsword wasn't gonna do great for me because I just needed more practice that I put in, but I had put in enough practice to beat the game with it, and that was the whole point. You know, same practice for all weapons, let's see which one does best. I'm actually pretty excited to see how the tier list changes in that regard with the extra amount of practice I will get before Sunbreak. And Gunlance. Yeah, I died a lot. Most of my deaths were on a single play session in which I was really tilted and really not playing my best. But after all, it was playing the Gunlance that got me to that mind state. So I decided to keep the data as it was and not just redo my Apex Inoga runs to keep the video true to my experience and not influence the data in any way. I did go for an all-out damage build without evade extender, and in retrospect I would have done a lot better with a more defensive build, and as I said, I plan to take more builds into account for my next video. And now the main reason making this video. This one comment in which GeFeHeDe said, "I love Gunlance. It's great. I don't know why you think it's bad, but I love it." And yes, this video hurt my feelings because now I feel like I should stop playing Gunlance. Also, you're not the only one either. I've had other people I played with tell me it's trash and that I'm an idiot for playing Gunlance. It honestly makes me sad, and I wish I picked up Greatsword and started using it a bit. But I still use mostly Gunlance. Sorry for using Gunlance, I guess. I don't fucking know. First off, I want to address the level of maturity on this comment. You know, I'm fairly old, but I would never have the level of emotional maturity to write something like this. I played Bow and Rise because I think the idea of using a string and a stick to propel sharp sticks forward is very cool. It's my go-to weapon in any RPG. And if I found a video that called the weapon that I enjoy garbage, it would have hurt my feelings because, well, I don't want it to be. It is the weapon that I like after all, and finding out it is the one that deals the least damage would kinda suck. However, I would have never been mature enough to admit to myself that someone's opinion on a video game hurt my feelings, much less to admit it publicly in a comment. I am sorry that I hurt your feelings. And I'm sorry that there's dipshits out there that will watch my video and think it's okay to treat someone like shit based on the weapon that they play. So, does the Gunlance actually suck? No. Or, well, it depends on what you mean by suck. But truth is, game balancing has come a long way since the day of Don Dong, Never Die, and Both. And all weapons are fairly close in power level. Certainly close enough that if you play your weapon at a very high level, you will outperform any weapon if they're not played to the same standard. One thing that I regret about my tier list is that I forgot to clarify how the tier list ranks work. I even remember thinking of adding this to the video, but I just forgot. The ranks work sort of like a temperature scale. I put the weapon that did the worst at the bottom of F tier, and the weapon that did the best at S. And then I figure out where everything in between goes. All weapons are actually viable. But why would I make a tier list with an F tier in it if I'm just not gonna use it? Even if the difference between the strongest weapon and the weakest one was 2 seconds, I would still put the strongest one in S tier and the weakest one in F tier. A weapon landing in F tier doesn't mean it's unplayable, it just means that it is the weakest in my opinion, or according to the data. And I really should have made that clear. I'm also really sorry to everyone who got their feelings hurt by my video. I should have clarified that I exaggerated a lot when talking about weapons for entertainment purposes. You know, to me it's a lot better to give a fake award and call a greatsword a worse experience at crushing my testicles with a hydraulic press than saying I had a bad experience while playing the weapon. Now, when you actually look at the speedrun tier list, bow, the top weapon, is about 2 minutes faster on average than Gunlance, the bottom one, which makes for a world of difference in speedrunning terms. But for a normal player, it means almost nothing. I have about 500 hours of bow play right now, but a gunless speedrunner would obliterate my times on any monster. And what I mean by that is, don't feel pressured to play the weapons closer to the top of the tier list just because they are stronger. You're so much better off playing the weapon that you like and trying to get the most out of it, like this guy said. Now, I don't think I lied, but as I said, I did exaggerate a lot. So maybe that is what he's talking about. You know, this is a bit of a side topic, but something that I really enjoy, and some of you actually seem to enjoy too, is playing games unoptimally and winning with bad strategies. For example, if bow was the weakest weapon in the game, I wouldn't just switch weapons. I would probably just try to make it work with different skills and playstyles, and probably download a damage meter mod to try and outdamage the top tier weapons in multiplayer. And if I can manage that, then that's a great victory because I managed to overcome the odds. You know, when I used to play Hearthstone back when Blizzard was still a bad company, but somehow not even close as bad as it is today, I used to try to make really bad decks work because the feeling of winning with them was so awesome. When I play Elden Ring PvP, I don't use glitched garbage to insta-kill people. I pick the weapons I like and try to make them work. And I think that should be your mindset when you are told that you're using a trash weapon. I fully encourage you to keep playing Gunlance, to reach your full potential with it, so that when you play with some cunt and they call you garbage, you can just send them a screen cap of your damage meter with you dealing twice the damage they are. And even if sometimes you're just having a terrible hunt and you're not actually dealing good damage, just remember that the other players chose the easy path. As bowmains picked up the weapon that is broken and breezed through the game. You're in for a challenge. You chose the path of difficulty and hardship, and therefore it is expected that you will stumble and fall along the way, but it will only make your victories all the much sweeter. Anyways, to finish off this incoherent mess of a video, I want to say that I can't really respond to all the comments I want to in this video. There's just so many awesome comments that I want to talk about. Fun comments, really deep and insightful ones that honestly just deserve their own video, and I'll get back to replying to them once this is uploaded. Just know that I love the fact that you guys take the time out of your day to tell me what you think, and that I read every single comment, even if I don't reply to all of them. I haven't been working on videos for a bit because I went on vacation with my family recently. It was awesome. I found a duck earring on the ground and it's now my best friend, and I just had a great time. But now I'm back and I'm ready to get back to working on videos, so I hope that I will be able to overcome my anxiety and get back to posting whatever ridiculous shit I come up with. And I really hope you guys enjoy them. I love you, and thanks for watching.